How will the coronavirus affect the world economy? Coronavirus is a true black swan event. Economists, and of course goats, fear recession because it slows down the demand and spending in the economy. By extension, this puts burdens on companies which needs to cut costs and fire employees to survive. These laid-off people would cut back their spending further and recession becomes deeper. However, this normal recessionary process is a well-studied one and most goats have developed tools to shorten this pain. Current slowdown due to coronavirus is a different story. It has forced down the demand and supply in the economy both simultaneously. Companies want to produce but can't due to lack of manpower. People want to buy stuff but their purchasing power is at risk. This lockdown is expected to last for a couple of months at least, and even after the social distancing would not allow the markets to resume normalcy anytime soon. This loss of business activity for the next couple of quarters is bound to hurt global trade. Rough estimates suggest that US GDP alone could lose close to $5 trillion in FY20. Although it will bounce back next year, but this knee-jerk reaction will knock off a lot of vulnerable portion of global society. Middle class and people with resources will tide over this slowdown relatively better, but people who are at the margin, especially in the countries where social safety net is weak, will have to bear the most brunt of this recession. First of all, I will concentrate on Europe, but much of what is here also relates to America as well. Is Europe, or rather the EU, in trouble? First, Europhiles will say it isn't, but let's have a look. The UK has left. The only thing under discussion is the future relationship. The EU wants even more money than when the UK was paying into the EU. The European economies were already heading into recession before the coronavirus hit. Italy is in very real trouble. Fiat have closed their factories in Italy, as have Ferrari, not only because of a lack of parts from China but in response to the virus. Italy's has closed all shops except food shops and pharmacies. Both will suffer losses and layoffs, which will result in those people not paying taxes but claiming whatever unemployment benefits Italy pays out. This also now applies to Spain and France. The European tourist economy is finished now that the countries are in lockdown. People are cancelling trips as many of the places they would normally visit have the virus. That business worth to the Italian economy alone is about 4 to 5% of its annual GDP. The peak of the Italian tourist and other tourist season is in June and July, which isn't far away, is it? There will be millions of people laid off from the tourism industry, and they will go from paying taxes to collecting whatever unemployment benefits their state provides and add the costs to the country's economy. The Italian economy was already heading for its fourth recession in 10 years, and now the fall in the economy and rise in unemployment will be even bigger. Italy's debt to GDP, the value of what it produces in a year, is 130%. And could rise to 160%. That makes it difficult to borrow money. You will need to look this up: Italian sovereign debt crisis. I am not writing all that out yet again. That also could cause the Italian banking system, which is already on life support, to fail, which will in turn collapse Deutsche Bank, to whom they owe masses of money.